Kate St. John was in the wonderful band the Dream Academy. Out of nowhere, someone sampled one of the Dream Academy songs that the band had the publishing on. So this is like 4 or 5 years ago. That hey na 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 hey na 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 hey na 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 hey, just that one part was sampled in another song. And out of nowhere, she got a check for £5,000, which is the easiest money that woman's ever going to make. You know, £5,000 for like just a sample of a song that she had as her rock group owned. So one of the things I'd say, if you get your foot in the door, don't ever let go of all of that. Although people do all the time, don't listen to them. The idea that you've had a song that's, you know, someone had something to do with once, and it's dead now, is over with the information superhighway. There's somebody somewhere that might want to mess with it sometime, and you want to get all your money. Oh, I got a better example. It's off the top of my head. REM put out a single, and on the flip side was that song, I Am Superman. And that was a B-side of a 60s sort of bubblegum band called The Clicks. C-L-I-Q-U-E, I think they spelled it. Now, that was a band that, you know, they had some singles and an album out. And it's been like when I was in junior high school or something. And they're long dead, long forgotten, and they're now working jobs at, you know, call centers, and they're lawyers, and they're pumping gas, and they're just late middle-aged men. Imagine out of nowhere, Michael Stipe said as the sessions wound down, hey, why don't we do that? That was a good song. So he put this pop song, I can't remember, I think it was on Document. Anyway, it was the B-side of Losing, no, no.
It's not recorded in all Life's Rich Pagan.
Is that what it was, Life's Rich Pageant? Yeah. And you can imagine, out of nowhere, these guys, somewhere down south, just late middle-aged men by now, got a pretty sizable check because it's on an REM single.
Album.
Sorry, I think it was the B-side too. But anyway, I mean that's why you never want to give away this dough. Never want to give away the publishing. Sorry, because someone somewhere might give you the buckage. Another one is Madonna's Ray of Light, which was a fascinating story of some guy that just had this riff and this title, and he was in this sort of. You all may know the story more than I do. It's been a while since I thought about it, and he was sort of being shunned aside in the record industry, as had some of us. And Madonna wanted to use the melodic statement that his song had, and that title, Ray of Light, right? But she can't just use it, it's his. It's sort of like you want to use part of I Can't Get No Satisfaction. For that matter, you want to use part of Like a Virgin. You contact that person, and you say, I want to use this, this, and this. Do we have a deal? Well, of course, it's Madonna. He'd be a moron not to say yes. Another example is Dolly Parton, of all people, wanted to do Stairway to Heaven, the Led Zeppelin song. And she did, and she asked Plant and Page, could she write a final verse to it? Which to me is amazing, because it's, you know, it's, whether you like it or not, it's a classic, and they don't need Dolly Parton's help. They're a bigger name than she is, really, at the end of the day. Anyway, and they said, yeah, sure. So she did Stairway to Heaven, and gets a credit on it on one of her recent albums about 3 or 4 years ago, and has a completely different verse at the end. But, you know, I mean, why? It was something of a hit, but I can't imagine any of that trio, Dolly Parton, Jimmy Page, Robert Plant, short of a few bob. But you can do that as well. Have I thoroughly confused everybody by talking this quickly?
No, that's cool.
What's more valuable, like, in terms of actual real money? The author credit or the publishing?
People will tell you they're equal in worth. They're not. Numerically, it usually comes out every time that this publishing is really what it breaks down to. I've had people tell me it's always 50-50. I don't get that. It doesn't make sense because it isn't. I don't know why. The publishing seems to generate more dough. I mean, when you song, I think part of the reason is when a song's played on the radio, you get different amounts of dough for different territories. The money's not always the same. In the States, it used to be something terrible, like a nickel for an airplane at a top 40 station in a major city. Now it's gone way up from that. Again, I've been here 18 years, so I don't quite know what it is. And in some countries, in developing countries, shall we say, the record keeping is not terribly stringent, and the amount given to you for a hit is less. And I think that's why, because it varies so much in publishing. And you can, by the way, you can, as I've said, sell the whole thing. You can literally sell the song and have your name taken off it if you're that desperate to. You can literally sell the song. you know, and have Joe Schmo put his name on it. It's legal to take the money. There's a wonderful country and western song called Crazy, da 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 da, that Patsy Cline had a big hit with, and Willie Nelson sold it for $50. When he wrote it, he was so down and out, and everyone, not everyone, but Willie Nelson's frequently asked, "Why did you sell the publishing for $50 for Crazy?" And he said, "Because I needed the $50 desperately." And these interviews always go, "Well, don't you deeply regret it?" He goes, "No, because I was down and out, destitute, broke, you know, back on the rent, and $50 in 1960 or whatever it was a lot of money." So you can literally sell the whole thing, and we can one day see a record that says Day Tripper. Instead of John Lennon and Paul McCartney, it says Sid Griffin on it. I mean, you know, if they're that crazy, they can do that.
I was going to ask a question.
Go on, please, questions.
Now that obviously the record industry is not really pressing lots of records to make money, what is the situation with MP3s? Are you going to generate any income from PPL for MP3s?
You know, that's a big
streaming?
bone of contention right now, because as you say, mechanicals were based on CDs and vinyl being pressed up. And how is the industry going to deal with MP3s? Because who knows what's going on now? And there isn't an answer right now. But right now, all that PPL and the whole BMI and ASCAP, American Society of Composers, Authors, Publishers, they're all debating that right now, because it's the same thing. Just because it's not a hard copy that you can have in your hands, it's the same thing. If you and I write that song, that's the great debate now. How do you get dough for it? But there's also an argument that I know a lot of established musicians that want money for their YouTube performances.
Yes.
Yes.
And I think if they have their way, you're going to see a lot of things come off YouTube. Because, you know, you want to watch an old hit or a recent hit for free. You don't want to, have to necessarily pay money to see it every time.
Say,